is all about the buzz with DryerBuzz on News and Talk 1380 WAOK.
Hey, what up, this Killer Mike telling you DryerBuzz on WAOK. That's right, WAOK 1380, suckers.
Call us at 404-892-2703 on News and Talk 1380 WAOK.
Hiring for other women.
Tell us a little bit, Katie, if you will, about some of your most memorable moments working on Charleston Fashion Week.
One of the designers, she fell through the stage. That video went viral. We got a very interesting call from Ellen.
It's our Fashion Week roundup.
And she was insistent on having her on the show.
All right, we're insistent on having you on the show too, ladies. It's a third Sunday, hashtag Here She Buzz. And we talk to the ladies. We take all the conversations we've had all month and we bring it back and say, okay, ladies, what do you think about it? And like I said, it is the opening of, it's spring in Atlanta. That means every weekend, hear me when I say this, every weekend starting Thursday through Sunday, there's an opportunity for women to dream big. And this is an amazing event that's coming up. I think I heard her say free.
It is free. It's sponsored, actually. So, yes, it's free.
Right. Well, see, my audience know when I say free, that means that somebody else has fully reimbursed each expense, F-R-E-E.
Yes,
that's what we mean
by including those people.
All right. News and Talk 1380. I'm Yolanda, the editor of DryerBuzz. And I asked the question at the beginning of the show, do women want less? And we hear, it seems like every industry is considered to be a male-dominated industry. I mean, even as Atlanta becomes a new Hollywood, we still hear, even in making films, car racing, marketing, everything seems to be, quote-unquote, considered male-dominated. What does that mean?
Well, if we just look at the history of our country, I think men have been working for a lot longer than women in general. Let's think about it, because if we go back to our grandparents and certainly our great-grandparents, most likely the women did not work, right? So it was left up to the man to go out into the marketplace and make a living and provide. Mm-hmm. And so from generations, men have been encouraged to go compete, do the best you can in a workspace and take care of your family. Mm-hmm. Women were taught to nurture, support, provide. And so when you look at industries that require a lot of competition, where there isn't a lot of empathy in their bottom lines, industries like sales, right, like the media. I mean, honestly, I can't think of any industry off the top where females are really at the top. And again, they've got generations on us. So I understand that. And so I think as we look at it's almost like a new form of feminism, right? So now for generations, we have been in the workspace, but I don't think that the rules are the same. I think that guys, there's definitely the old boys club with the guys where a lot of the deals are done on the golf course, which I was forced when I worked in golf. I do. So I was forced to play golf because I was on a management team with all men, and that's what we did, right? We played golf, we talked crap. We even went to strip clubs, and I know that it's not something I'm proud of, but I made a conscious decision that I'm going to compete with these boys, and anything they do, I can do. And although that's not how I wanted to spend some of my Friday nights when my child was home with the nanny, it's what I did because I wanted to continue to evolve in my career. And what I will say in retrospect is it probably was a part of why I decided that I wanted something else for my life, because I really started to take on what we consider male tendencies, like just empathy didn't matter. I have a sales team. If you're not hitting your number, I'm going to tell you 3 times and then I'm going to fire you. And it doesn't matter that you just move your family from Florida to take this job for me, because at the end of the day, to keep my job, I have to keep making these numbers work, right? So you do that for 7 years. After a while, you kind of detach from people and the very important nature of us as women to be compassionate and to connect. And I was like, whoa, like this is an issue. And we went through, as with any industry, in 2008, the media industry went through, the economy was going down, and I'm in this GSM, and I'm responsible for 24 people and their livelihoods. And I had to look at 9 of them in the eye and say, I know you have worked your butt off for me for a couple years, but I'm going to have to let you go. And it's something that I thought I was going to be able to do much better than I did because I had prayed about it and I had, convinced myself that this is just a part of the job. It's a part of what I have to do. But it didn't quite work like that. And it bothered me. And my hair fell out and I had sleepless nights and I just didn't feel good about who I had become. And that's when I decided I had to make some decisions about the trajectory of my career. And I think women have to deal with that a lot. So some things, some corporate cultures aren't set up to embrace some of the really strong feminine polarity things like compassion, like empathy, that we need to feel that connection. A guy can cut that off, even in relationships, right? Like they could just cut off the emotion and it's matter of factly. And we're like, what? I love you. You belong to me. What are you talking about? And they're like, so it's just that we have to understand that we're still as valuable, we're still as smart, and we have to play by our own rules. But still, it's a fine line, right? Because if your company tells you have to do certain things and they're not necessarily in your nature, you have to figure out what you're willing to do and what you're not willing to do and make, decisions accordingly.
Hashtag here she buzz. She went boss on us, didn't she? She went boss. She went boss. 404-892-2703. I saw some cooking. I saw some Oprah. I'm like, okay, this is real. This is absolutely real. What stood out, right? What stood out is the fact that women now, we've got to compete. We do, but we've got to find the right. It's the language. You still can't say, even in this point where the playing field, like you said, the media life changed in 2008, 2010. I remember those were the 2 years I pulled back from blogging. In this space that we're in now, we have to compete. But is that the language? Can we use that language with women today, even today?
What language?
Compete. You've got to get in the competition.
You have to. I think the key for us is deciding our lane and what's comfortable for us, right? Even with me as a business owner, I compete all the time, which is why I talk about how important personal branding is, because people want to do business with people who they see value in what they bring to the table. So we're always going to compete. But I just want to reiterate that some industries are set up for guys to compete. It's I'm not going to say unfair because we're never victims, but it's set up more for the male polarity than it is for the female.
If we get in the game, can we change that up?
I think if enough of us get in the game, I think we can. And over time, I think we will see. And we're starting to see it now. Like there are some companies that allow you to bring your children to work. They allow you to bring your dogs to work. So we're starting to see some of those changes. Right. I think it's going to take a while, but absolutely, we just have to continue to have these conversations and push for what we believe is fair in the workspace.
There was and it's probably a YouTube out there, where there was a poll, kind of, was it a poll, I guess, where they were saying that these were women who were at the top of the game. They were senior vice presidents, COOs, CFOs, CEOs, and in asking all of them if they wanted less, they really wanted less, because it, like you said, it took on so much. They had to take on alter egos or egos that we, until it ended up hurting them, physically and health wise inside. How do we exist in that space? Now here you have your event coming up, and there's going to be a woman in there who has the best idea ever in the world. But she just can't get beyond nurturing. She can't put on that hat. How do you encourage her to dream big, dream bigger?
Well, I think a lot of it is going to be the inspiration of some of the women on the panel who have found that courage. And normally when we normally pull energy from the people that we're surrounded by. And as we share our stories of some of the things that we've gone through in our personal career journey, and you kind of can see the outcome, the positive outcome of another woman who sat in that same place years ago or months ago, and who decided to have the courage to follow her dreams and to see what that manifested, I think that's the biggest inspiration. Right. So just seeing people who have walked that path before and seeing the successes that have come out of having that courage. Because really, again, I can't say how much. It's all about courage and putting yourself out there.
Right. When we come back, we're going to get back into understanding personal branding because she's having a free personal branding seminar Saturday, March the 21st from 4 to 7 p.m. the Westside Cultural Arts Center, and it's entitled Dream Big 2015 at The Brandista is in with us, giving us the buzz behind the buzz on News and Talk 1380 WAOK.
News and Talk 1380 WAOK. WAOK Atlanta. WVEE HD3. News and Talk 1380 WAOK. Hashtag #HairSheBuzz. Get the buzz behind the buzz with Yolanda Lattimore with DryerBuzz on News and Talk 1380 WAOK. Call us at 404-892-2703 on News and Talk 1380 WAOK.
Welcome back to DryerBuzz on WAOK. I'm a woman. I'm not afraid to get in the game. And I've got at the Brandista in here. She's going to help more women get in the game. She wants us to dream big. And let me just tell you, they are dreaming big right now over at Turner Field. It's the Hunger Walk. People shouldn't have to dream about a meal. So let's find out what's buzzing at Turner Field. Hi, Mike.
Hi there, Yolanda. Coming to you live from Turner Field. I've got to tell you something. Just had an opportunity, and it just lit my face up just to see all of these walkers and runners cross the finish line. I had an opportunity to greet them. I had an opportunity to take pictures. So, of course, we're going to post them on the WAOK website. But I got to tell you something. Nobody should ever, ever have to go to bed hungry. No one should ever, ever have to feel as though, where is my next meal coming from? So you've got these walkers out here, and I'm talking about 20,000 strong, who want to make sure that they send a message out that no one should ever, ever be hungry. And they are doing it in a very, very big way. And they're so enthusiastic about it, and they're so conscious about what they want to do. And it's a wonderful thing that it's in their spirit, it's in their heart, that they want to make sure that they stomp out hunger. Coming to you live from Turner Field, Mike Moore for News and Talk 1380 WAOK.
All right, guys, that is the buzz. Mike, as well as Derek, is over there at Turner Field, and hopefully you and your family are out there. Put DryerBuzz in your ear while you're walking. And Mike, Derek, tell everybody to go ahead and jump on the DryerBuzz or WAOK Facebook fan page. You can get the link to listen. We're good to walk to. I usually walk to it. I always head out for my walks on Monday, and I always play back the show, which you can always catch all of the archives. If you've missed any of DryerBuzz.com, DryerBuzz on AOK, you can go to DryerBuzz.com and get the archives. Great archives. Like I said, we did a great show yesterday. We had Chef Marlowe in because now we're on Saturdays as well. And he was talking about this 80-20 rule of food. Okay. Meaning, you can eat the good stuff, enjoy the great flavors, but you got to keep it at an 80-20, 80% healthy, and then kind of squeeze in some of that stuff that you love. And he's going to be coming in as part of a segment. I think we'll have him on second Saturdays. And so that we can all eat healthy and follow the Black Box Gang. So definitely follow Chef_Marlowe on Instagram. You can see all the great food that he puts out every day. All right, but we're talking, this is the language of women, #HairSheBuzz, and we're trying to understand what it means to have, our personal brands, because we have it. Sometimes we don't know we're branding, but what happens, and I think for me, is that I started blogging because I wanted, at the time in 2002, just wanted to learn how to do websites. And the webmaster called me and said, hey, there's a lot of activity on this website that we're hosting for you. And people were telling me that I had a great reputation for getting the story out now. And I didn't know and realize that this could have been my real passion. I didn't know this could have been my career. Somebody had to give me a push. Do you find that often? Like you said, you work with men, get it.
Mm-hmm,
men get it. They see opportunity. They see millions. I've not talked to a woman yet who said that they even want $1 million business, or when I talk to Candy, even when you talk to Candy, I mean, Candy's got amazing wealth.
Mm-hmm.
Even when you talk to her on Real Housewives of Atlanta, you still don't hear this. She wants to do this for we as women also want to do this for various reasons. It's never to be the billionaire. Even when people say they want to be the next Oprah, mm-hmm. they want other aspects of it. Mm-hmm. Why is it that we as women don't even talk about money?
Sure. Now, I will have to say, I think men also, I think success equates to different things for different people. For some, it's money. For some, it's prestige. For others, it's just share their passion. But I think that, again, women, we're just creators. We just want to create stuff. And sometimes we need to be reminded because, like you said, we can just get in a job, a career by default, and we just feel obligated and committed to that. And we might have really strong talents and passions about something else. And maybe sometimes the people who aren't in it every day with us has to remind us how great we are at some of those aspects. And I think that's natural because, again, you know, you get busy, you're just going through the motions, and somebody else might be like, you're really good at this. Why don't you try? Because they're looking from, you know, from the outside in, and they're not in the action every day of your life.
I know I had a friend, she used to make the best chocolate covered pretzels. And I have a friend who made the best pound cakes. And I said, you know, if you take the pound cake and you put something on the inside and the hole, and then you box it up, and then we can sell it on eBay and all this, you know. Or the friend girl that made the pretzels, I think your pretzels can be in every restaurant. They was like, girl, we just want to bake and have you eat our food. You know, leave us alone, you know, even to this day. And I just feel like they could be at the top of the game. And somebody told me once before, the words are not lost. Everybody kind of has to wait for their season. You talked about that. Tell us about, if it's not our time now, how do we know when to capitalize on it or to capture the moment, our moments?
No, sure. And so this is my own personal belief, but I believe our season is when we believe that we're good enough for whatever we want. And I think until we convince ourselves that it's our season, it will never be, because we will continue to be affected by the external circumstances, right? And I can go and elaborate, but, you know, I was in a really bad car accident. I almost died, and yada, yada, yada. But it felt like it wasn't my season. But in spending time with myself, I was like, okay, you know, I'm here. I have these tremendous gifts to share in the world. I am going to decide that I'm going to have the courage to go and do what I really want to do, because tomorrow is not promised. So I think that, you know, waiting for our season sometimes give us an excuse to just be comfortable. And I think sometimes we kind of have to just have the faith and the courage to go and co-create that season.
Well, now, speaking of comfortable, because a lot of times there's a lot that can take a woman out of her comfort zone. When we go to these networkings, a lot of times, like I said, you know, most of the men jump up at every break. The women were still sitting there. How do we do it and still be comfortable?
Because we have to get comfortable with ourselves first. It's internal, right? And so I think that, you know, as with anything, if we feel really strong in who we are and we become very comfortable about the uniqueness of what makes us an individual woman, then you're going to want to communicate and connect, because you're in your own space of comfortability.
And do we have to do that in a space of just women?
Of course not. I mean, of course not. It's just, I think it's a life lesson that the more comfortable and confident, self-assured we become in our own selves, the more open we are to share ourselves with the world, actually.
Okay.
I think women, that's a comfort space for us, though. So I think it's a great starting point, because it could be a very safe place if you're around the right women with the same intentions.
Now, how do you get around, like, I always want to be with like minds, and sometimes, you know, we end up in a room, and we're like, "How did I get here?" How do I build a team or a support group of people of like minds, based on my personal brand?
Consistency, because the more you continue to do the same things, you attract those people who also are interested in the same things. If somebody isn't interested in what you're talking about all the time, they're not going to be around you, and you're probably not going to be around them. We tend to attract people with similar interests, with you know, with similar vibes. You know, even I'm not sure if you've ever met someone who just had a funky vibe and you just couldn't wait to not be around them. You know,
right?
Like that's something that I just can't do. So you know, so it's kind of funny because, you know, we tend to attract where we are, and if you are consistent with, you know, talking about who you are and what you bring to the table, you're going to attract other women, other people who are in that similar space.
All right, the Brandista Guide, the BRANDISTA WAGuide.com. And she's also at the Brandista all over. When we come back, we're going to get ready to wrap up with her free event. That means somebody has already fully reimbursed each expense, and all you got to do is be there and dream big March the 21st. More information, more buzz behind the buzz with the Brandista, Courtney Rhodes. All right, guys, on News and Talk 1380 WAOK.
Yo, this is Tommy Noble. Make sure you check me out on the stage near you. When I want to get the buzz behind the buzz, I listen to Dryer Buzz and News on Talk Radio 1380 WAOK, baby.
Call us at 404-892-2703 on News and Talk 1380 WAOK.
This is Dr. Charles H. Jackson, Sr. of the Impact Project, encouraging you to be vocal, victorious over cancer and in life, and also listen to The Buzz on News and Talk 1380 WAOK.
Call us at 404-892-2703 on News and Talk 1380 WAOK.
Welcome back to an amazing show today, y'all, on Dryer Buzz on WAOK. You're not missing anything when we're in the break because I usually film it and put it on Instagram. So you, if you go to DryerBuzz.com, some of the video and some of the things that the Brandista is dropping is on Instagram right now. We want to ask some questions, and because I asked them during the break, and I'm going to bring them right back to you guys on air. Now, don't forget now, if you haven't gone to her website, thebrandista.com, you are missing out on the information because she is hosting a free personal branding seminar on Saturday, March the 21st. It's going to be 4 to 7. This is Saturday coming up, y'all, so you don't want to miss it. Westside Cultural Arts Center. You do need to register if you're ready to dream big 2015. She's going to open. You said you're going to allow a few more in.
Mm-hmm, I am. We're at like 200 and something right now.
Who want it?
Right, but we're going to allow, if you register today or tomorrow, then I'm going to figure out a way to facilitate those because additional women.
because she and her amazing partners have already fully reimbursed the expense for you to be there, and so you definitely want to be there. I asked, this is the question I said I wanted to come back on. Is personal branding just for the entrepreneur? So tell us a little bit how others can use it, should be using it.
And the answer is absolutely not. And let me just give an example, because I think that's sometimes it's kind of like a cliche term now. So people aren't 100% clear on what personal branding, what does that really mean? But personal branding is just developing the consistency of who you are. It's helping people to understand who you are, what special talents, gifts, successes that you have, so that if there's ever an opportunity for you in a partnership role and an advancement, like getting a job promotion, that the person who's making the decision is educated about who you are and what you could really bring to the table. And one of the things that I've shared with you off air was when I was in my role with Clear Channel, I subconsciously promoted people who had a natural tendency to share their successes and their wins with me because they were fresh in my mind. It wasn't that I was overlooking the other people, but if they weren't open about their successes and their wins, then I just don't know them. Right. So we have to look at it, women, all the women out there, we have to look at it as education. Just if you've written a book, if you volunteer, and in like the particular example I was talking about at Clear Channel was this young lady who was on my sales team. She was a rep, a media sales rep, but she volunteered, and in her volunteer work she did a lot of promotions and marketing with a nonprofit organization, and she wanted to become the promotions manager at the station. So ideally, I would never connect the dots for her in that role because I saw her in a sales role. She was doing well in that sales role, but because in her mind she had her eyes on what she wanted to do, she did it in a very non-overwhelming way. You know, she would come in on Mondays. We're having our one-on-ones. She's telling me about her weekend and the amazing stuff that she's done, volunteer, what, kind of promotions they had done, So in my mind, she's building this, these skill sets that I now know that she has. Well, for anybody else on my team who also had similar skill sets, if they didn't share that with me, I would have no idea. So they would never even get considered to have, to come to the table to be considered for the opportunity.
And that's how you sit in a position and you see all these opportunities come by. And usually when there's an opportunity, but then there's 3 people already up for it, is because women think of it as bragging about themselves.
Absolutely.
But you use the term just educating
because
people
guys
about
are
what
educating all day long.
Ladies,
okay?
do y'all hear that?
They are doing cartwheels like, hello, I can do this. Things that they really aren't that great at, they're going to convince you they're great at. Nothing. And I'm not hating on them, but it's just, you know, again, the differences in our nature. So
because we as women need to do that. Okay, so for tomorrow is Monday.
It is.
Everybody is going back into workplace. You're opening your business in the morning. We're coming to the event on the 21st, but leading up to that, how do we, I got to educate somebody tomorrow because I want to wake up on Mondays and have the life that I live. Mm-hmm. Educating starts with what?
Educating starts with a conversation, an honest conversation with yourself. And I think that you have to really think about what are the things that make you thrive? What are the things that motivate you internally? What are the things that you're inspired by? What are the things that when you're doing, you kind of lose time? We all think about being a little girl, and I like to use this analogy. When I was a little girl, I could play school for hours upon hours upon hours with no students even in my classroom because I like to pretend like I was educating and sharing information. Granted, I'm not a teacher. In my role as a consultant, I still get to do those things. I get to guide and shape and tell stories, right? And so it's something that was internally wired in me my whole life. And when I feel like I'm helping someone by helping to guide and direct them, I feel really satisfied at the end of the day. And I think that when we think about those things that we just naturally do when we finish and we feel like we're filled, like oh my God, I feel so great. Like no matter what that is, those are our gifts. And those are the things that can help us really hone in on our personal brand because it's the things that make us different and unique and they just give us bliss when we're kind of doing them.
And that's kind of out of the box. Growing up, you thought you loved to play school, but yet you're still at a point in a position of educating. We're going to go right to the phones. All right, we've got Nicole. She's got some questions. Hey, Nicole, 404-892-2703. What's your comment?
Hey, Yolanda. I wanted to call. I know you all were saying that women don't seem to network as much as men. So just wanted to phrase my question this way. I'm seeing an overabundance of networking with all these women's conferences, and just wanted to get you all's opinion on that. To me, it seems like women have become the new go-to get-rich scheme, so to speak. Just my opinion, because there was a women's conference every other week, especially in Atlanta. So I wanted to know, how do you decipher which conference is the best conference to go to get out whatever you're trying to get out of it? Do you think that we have become the people that folks are just trying to make money off of by playing on our self-esteem and the weakness and the so-called stereotypes of women not, being friendly toward each other? And I just wondered you all's opinion on that, because like I said, I think there's just been an overabundance lately of the so-called networking, and women to me always seem to be the ones to talk to each other because we're so chatty and we like to talk and conversation. But I'm not trying to sound different, than what you all were saying, but I'm just wondering what you all think about that.
Is true. I mean, we are chatty, and like I said, I was just at a conference yesterday. We're talking. What I did notice about the conference yesterday, the same faces were there, and I asked the women, do you go to the conference and then go home and implement what you've learned? Is that what you've experienced?
It is, and I think that, we're chatty in our comfort zone. So we're chatty if we're around people who we're not intimidated by, if we're around people who aren't making big decisions about our lives, right? Because it's our comfort zone. Versus when it comes to business decisions, we're just not as, we're just not. And every woman's different, obviously, right? As the masses, we're not as comfortable networking and basically asking for the business, if you will. I'm interested in what you mentioned about conferences, and honestly, I guess I'm not in the loop with all the conferences that are going on, and I think it would depend on the premise of the conference. If it's a conference and there are women sitting on the panel who you admire and you understand their story and they inspire you, then I think it's worth your time. If that's not the case, if it's not women that you feel that you can inspire or be inspired by, then it's not the right conference for you. And I think it's an individual decision based on what your goals are and what you're trying to achieve at that event. Obviously, if it's free, then there's no money being made. Definitely. And I'm doing it because I want to give back because, you know, again, I have a successful consulting business. I work with larger companies who all have males as CEOs. So I just want to encourage those women who do have a brand or a product to really be comfortable and be inspired by other women who have walked that journey. So it's really a feel-good thing as well as a walk away with these strategies and tips to help you just, again, be more aware that you can do these things if you really commit to them.
Okay, thank you. And I was wondering, you said that about how men are, thank you for allowing me to continue talking. You said how the men are more into business, but is it not true that women are, especially black women, are starting to open more businesses than anyone else? But then I guess the question would be, are the businesses staying open, which I just thought to myself.
All right, thanks so much, Nicole. But let's answer that question on the other side of the break, because we do see the stats that women are now more educated and they are more opening business. And I think a lot of that happened. I remember blogging when President Barack Obama was elected, when the man, there's a story I have out there called When the Man Behind the Brand is a Woman, and how we were encouraged into the entrepreneur space. But like Nicole said, is we're going to the conferences, but are we truly implementing what needs to be done?
And why are we forced to open those businesses is a better question.
Ooh, that's what we're going to talk about in this next segment. The Brandista is staying with us, y'all, and we're getting the buzz behind the buzz. 404-892-2703, News and Talk 1380 WAOK.
News and Talk 1380 WAOK. Go now to DryerBuzz.com and follow @DryerBuzz on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. It's all about the buzz on News and Talk 1380 WAOK. Call us at 404-892-2703 on News and Talk 1380 WAOK.
It's DryerBuzz on WAOK. To follow the conversation, you should be using the hashtag DryerBuzz, hashtag DryerBuzz or DryerBuzz on WAOK, because the conversation doesn't start or stop here. The Brandista and I have been talking. We're going to continue talking and taking your comments. You can tweet her at The Brandista. You can follow her great motivation stuff she's got, and inspiration stuff on her Instagram, and then the website is The Brandista Guide. If you want to register, she's gonna open registration, y'all, and let a few more come in for her event to help you dream big in 2015, Saturday, March the 21st, 4 to 7 p.m., a free event at West Side Cultural Arts Center. On the way out of the break, we kind of talked about the fact that the amazing opportunities that Michelle and Barack Obama, our First Lady and President, in ushering women into entrepreneurship. That's probably what has to do with our Mayor Kasim Reed and the Women's Initiative event, in Women's Initiative Collaborative that's going on. I think there's an opportunity there for 15 women to be a part of this incubator that they have. And somebody told me just yesterday, you should apply for that. I didn't know I could dream that big. So tomorrow I have to put in my application for that. But we talked about the fact that, are women implementing what they learned from the conferences. And Nicole had a question about, with so many women becoming, we lead the stats in getting the education, and we also lead in opening the business. And you said it's because we're forced to do this right now.
Well, there are several reasons, but you can imagine if you're well educated and you have experience and you're not able to go past a certain bar in corporate America, then you're going to get frustrated and you're going to start your own business. And I think that's great. And I encourage women to do that. I just encourage them to really understand the marketplace that they're getting in and doing their homeworks, because we open businesses at an all-time high, but they also close as an all-time high. So I think that we just have to make sure that we prepare ourselves, make sure we have a strong business plan, that we have clients and consumers and an audience before, just do the groundwork to build that brand and not make an emotional decision to step away from corporate America and start a business, but just to plan properly. And that's just my, yes, empower yourself, start businesses, just make sure you do the homework, educate yourself, and make practical and not emotional decisions.
And that's funny or you could work for a wonderful company in Cubicle Nation and they can say, okay, we need you not to come to work anymore.
Absolutely.
But let's talk a little bit about the negative side to that and rebounding. A lot of times we have to rebound. I was telling you the story of when I first started blogging and nobody really knew what it was. And I saw a young woman putting her all into getting ready to open her business. It was a salon.
Right.
I, at the time, had launched the website that nobody knew what a website was, but it was called DryerBuzz.com. And I'm thinking, I could do wonders for her, you know. And I told you, I went in and I had a screenshot. I mean, printers weren't the best, a lot of people couldn't go online because they didn't have broadband at the time. Everybody was on dial-up. That's how long we've been blogging. Happy blogiversary to us. And I went in and I said, I want to do a story on you. And this salon owner literally looked me in my face and said, well, what's in it for you?
Wow. And
now, for her to hear about DryerBuzz sometime later coming in and said, hey, I remember you asked to do a story on it. Can I get a story? And no, you can't. So how do you rebound if you've started and you realize, your brand is kind of going left? Like you said, you wanted to be a teacher, but now here you are consulting. What if you got off on the wrong foot? How do you begin to rebrand and turn it around?
Sure. So I think that, we all have made bad decisions, but what I will say is one of the most valuable things about building a brand, rather it's a business brand, and I have a pretty large Ford client with 3 dealerships here, and I handle the branding for that dealer as well as the 3 franchises, or it's an individual female. The key is the likability factor, and if you're a negative Nancy, you're not going to have a very strong likability factor, and that's just a fact. Okay. So I think that, a lot of times people are women, men, anybody may have a negative approach just because of a lack of understanding, out of frustration. It may not have anything to do with you. When you approach that woman, she may have felt that people were taking advantage of her.
Right.
Like there may have been a series of things that you did not have anything to do with, and she just automatically associate you with that. And at the end of the day, she hurt herself more than anybody else, right? Because she didn't understand how you could help her. And I realized for all of us, we can only help those people who want to be helped, and we can't help everybody. And that's not our jobs to help everybody. There are people who need what I have to offer for this conference, who are at a place who are ready to get it, and they're going to come and they're going to walk away and they're going to feel inspired, and they're going to feel like I've met 200 and something odd women who are now on my support team, and they're going to get it. And that's who I'm talking to. And I understand that. And it's not for everybody. And the same with you, right? So you tell stories and you get the word out there, and some people are ready to hear it and perceive it, and others aren't. And that's okay. So let's not frustrate ourselves when somebody our messages don't resonate with them, but don't become negative. Just move on to something that resonates with you, because there's enough wins and successes for every single one of us.
And it's interesting you said frustration, because when you think about people who are negative, there does seem to be a source of frustration there. Either they're trying to accomplish something, they can't get it, or they can't get in the comfort zone, or around the right people. Coming to an event, now I know what I've got to have. Now, luckily for me, I had a radio platform and the Brandistas right here.
Yes.
But yet you've pulled together, and you got to tell us some of the amazing people you're going to have available to us.
Sure.
How do I come into a room where there's 200 women, and how do I know what I need to have? Who do I need to see? Who do I need to impress? And what do I need to leave with? And how do I implement what I'm going to learn? So now I'm already connected with you.
Absolutely.
But you've mentioned you've got great connectivity and an amazing event. I don't want to be overwhelmed when I come into a sea of 200 women. How do I stay in my comfort zone, but also nurture my dream while I'm there?
You know, to be honest, I would just say come with an open mind, because forget about comfort zone. Why do you want to be comfortable? If we're in our comfort zone, we're only going to achieve what we've achieved thus far. So in order for us to dream big and create things that's bigger than what we've created this far, we have to open our minds and we have to get out of our comfort zone. When I get too comfortable in my business, I have a problem, because I'm like, oh my God, like this, you know, I want to keep learning and I want to keep growing, and I need to be that source of encouragement for my clients to do that. So I never want to get comfortable, because the world of marketing and media is changing at an all-time high. So if I'm comfortable doing what works today, it's going to be irrelevant a year from now. Wow. So I never want to be comfortable. So I encourage you, don't worry about that. Just come saying, I'm going to be open-minded. I am going to share my story. I'm going to share with these other women who are more similar like me than we are different. And I'm going to walk away with a group of new friends and new supporters and women who are positive and who are working to make the world a better place. And I think if we just focus on that, we're going to all have an amazing time. Not only, yes, the panel, you asked about some of the people. We're going to have Drexina Nelson, she's a national celebrity photographer, Saptosa Foster, who's a partner at 135th Street Agency, Alex Davis, who is the PR manager at Bloomingdale's, Kadira Abdur Rahim, who is the CEO of Future Foundation, which is one of the largest nonprofit organizations in the state of Georgia. It's a group of amazing women, but we all are amazing women. And that's the whole point, is that we're so similar. So let's learn from each other. Let's tell our stories. Let's share the hard lessons, the expensive lessons that we've learned, and let's figure out how we can connect. Let's communicate and then see how women walk away and collaborate. And it's just my goal to have women walk away and then email me, hit me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, or whatever, and tell me how they're doing a business with 5 women that they met there that day, because together they have found the courage and they have found the finances and they're going to do it. And if that happens, then my mission accomplished.
All right. So for all my people, here's what we're going to do. We're going to go. She said 5. You're going into a sea of 200 women, an amazing panel, and I want you to come back with 5. So get your list together, seek 5 to collaborate with, and come away from the conference and implement. All right, tell everybody again now how they can find and follow and connect with you.
Absolutely. So for the conference, just go to my blog, which is thebrandistaguide.com, Dream Big, so /Dream Big, register. You can get me on Instagram at The Brandista. Twitter is the same, Facebook /The Brandista Guide. And it's all about sharing our stories, being positive, being supportive, and just encouraging each other to live in an experience of our highest best selves. And it's what fuels me every day. Just working and seeing amazing women gives me inspiration, and I just pray that I can give some of that back to some other women. So.
All right, an amazing event. Now, if you just logged on or somebody just shared the link with you missed any part of this interview, the archive is going up today at DryerBuzz.com. The snippets are on our Instagram, and we come back. I got to get ready to wrap up. It's just been another great episode of News and Talk 1380 Dryer Buzz on WAOK.
#HairSheBuzz. Get the buzz behind the buzz with Yolanda Lattimore with Dryer Buzz on News and Talk 1380 WAOK. Call us at 404-892-2703 on News and Talk 1380 WAOK.
Hi, this is Fontaine Lewis from Jazz and Jokes Atlanta. If I'm not hosting an event, I'm looking to DryerBuzz to see what's happening in the streets of Atlanta on News Talk 1380 WAOK.
Call us at 404-892-2703 on News and Talk 1380 WAOK.
DryerBuzz on WAOK. You're back with News and Talk 1380 WAOK. 404-892-2703. Let's do a little bit of speed buzz. It's been an amazing weekend. And I always tell you, love and enjoy WAOK on the weekend because it's an amazing lineup. And now you get a double dose of buzz. You get DryerBuzz on WAOK on Saturday nights from 6 to 8. We kind of help you head out into the city and enjoy all the history and culture of Atlanta. Hashtag living Atlanta style. And then on Sunday, we got your great debate right after church, right after your pastor take up that nice collection, 65 million to some. No, I'm just playing. No. And I was telling somebody was asking me about the whole Creflo situation, and I said, hey, he knows his flock. He knows by asking for 300, they were gonna roll up there with 600. So if the GoFundMe or whatever campaign they use had stayed out of there, he would today post service probably have $120 million. And I don't know why everybody is upset. I don't know why you can't get that from your flock, but he has nurtured his flock to the point that they will roll like that. Because let me tell you, I remember being at T.D. Jakes' event, and T.D. Jakes had to literally, in the middle of Woman Thou Art Loose, get up there and say, hey, look, stop this. Because his wife, and this is why I said, do women want less? Because T.D. Jakes' wife, and then there was another female speaker at a couple of times during the T.D. Jakes event. They were like, we need you to sow a seed. And women were coming from the rafters. First, they asked for $50 and $100. They do this thing called the money wave or whatever. I don't know. You know how you wave an envelope if you got money in and they pray over it, whatever. And then they said, okay, if you got 100, you probably got 500. So the people who had the envelope of 500, they was like, well, if you got 500, you get to come down and get on stage with us. And then they told the women with the 500, I blogged about this, y'all, at DryerBuzz.com. They told the women with the 500, stop. Because if you got 500, that means somebody got 1,000. This is literally happening in front of us. I don't know why they invited me to blog about this, but because I'm sitting there going like, this is crazy. So then they told the women who had 1,000. Now, some of our celebrity civil rights women jumped up on the $1,000, but then they told the women who had the envelopes with the $1,000, stop. We need the women that's got $10,000. When I tell you these women were coming from the rafters, if you can sow a seed of $10,000 to help us with our mission, I'm about to jump thinking about it. But here's my thing. If you were in the Phillips Arena with us that day and you had it to sow a seed of $10,000, you could have brought some friends. You could have brought another woman who could have benefited from that. I'm literally choking on this. I think I got a little excited. But I'm talking about not the women on the floor in the VIP seats where, we were sitting there because, I was there on the press tip because I couldn't sow a seed. I'm just telling you. But I saw women coming from the top rafters saying that they were going to come down and pledge $10,000 because we can make it affordable. We can do it in a payment plan. You sold the seed. I'm like, this God ain't the lottery. You can't give God $10,000. Well, I don't know how y'all interpret the Bible because I'm like, if you got $10,000, God already. I don't want to preach because that's not my thing. But I'm like, if you got $10,000 to sow a seed, God already gave it to you. And what I did not like is that person running down there with that $10,000 thinking that I'm going to get 10 times that back I have. What is the percentage that they quote unquote promise you that if you sowed a seed of $10,000, it's going to come right back to you? But I'm like, I don't know if I like them odds. That's just not me. Strike me. Don't strike me by lightning. But I came away from it, and I did come away from it. I was invited to experience Woman Thou Art Loose, I think it was, and blog about it. And my blog title was, Will a Woman Rob God, or is the church robbing her? That was my blog piece. It's still out there because I couldn't believe it. And I don't blame T.D. Jakes. I don't blame Creflo Dollar. I just think that in their midst, within some of their followers, it's some crazy people. It's some people that are there for the wrong reason. It's some people that want it for the wrong reason. In fact, as this circus of money waving was going on, T.D. Jakes himself walked up on the stage and said, look, stop this. He had to, because it was getting out of hand. It was getting out of hand. And I remember watching one local civil rights woman put her envelope back in her purse. She was like, you don't want, what you mean? They didn't want her $1,000. Because remember I said once they got to 1,000, they told the thousandaires to sit down. We need $10,000. And I was watching to see, because she had raised it to every level. And I was watching to see if she was going to raise it to 10,000. She put her envelope back in her purse. It's like, okay, they don't went too far, but it was an absolute circus. And like I said, I don't blame the leaders. Sometimes you just have to wonder who's following you, especially even on some of the social media followings. It's just interesting what's out there and who follows and why. I even have to question some of my followers sometimes. It's like, and even that deep, but we have to just be cognizant of what's around us. Personal branding. I like the way the conversation of personal branding went, because I often have to remind people it's not always about being an entrepreneur. I know not everybody wants to have a business, but some of you could be doing a lot better in your professional lives, in Cubicle Nation. And we as women have to think it not robbery. We have to think it not braggadocious, that we toot our horns and pat ourselves on the back and celebrate our accomplishments. I very mildly came into this anniversary of 13 years in the blogosphere as media, impacting the narrative, undoing #media apartheid. And I thought, and it was interesting because yesterday I was asked to ask a question at the panel to kind of get it started. And something told me, go ahead and mention that you've been doing this for 13 years. And I was like, maybe I better not say that. But I was like, look, I'm proud to be here. My blog is 13 years old. And that opened some doors, because when I said that I had done that, so many of the women came up to me at the conference and said, now you need to do this. And let me introduce you to this person. Let me connect you to that one. Sue Ross came up and said, hey, why aren't you involved in the Women's Economic Initiative? Your business should be in this building. What the mayor and this initiative is giving 15 women. Do y'all know about this? WEI Atlanta. Look that up. They're giving 15 women almost like a scholarship to exist, for their businesses to exist in this building. There's the Awesome Foundation. They give away $1,000 a month. All you have to do is fill out the little form and let them know how you would use the money for an idea. And it doesn't matter as long as somebody's going to benefit from the idea. All right, I tell you, stick and stay with WAOK. When I jump out of this chair, Joyce Littell is going to be jumping in, and I think she's got Dr. Heavenly on. Dr. Heavenly has a great book, Dr. Heavenly, From Merit to Medicine. So Joyce Littell will be in from 4 to 7. Tell everybody, Dryer Buzz is on with a double dose of Dryer Buzz on WAOK Saturdays from 6 to 8, and then we come right back and give you a great debate on Sundays. The conversation doesn't stop here. We're going to keep it going with the Brandista and the Brandista Guide. So you need to be right now following us, #DryerBuzz. Questions, comments, she's going to be taking care of that. If you want to attend this free event March 21st, you need to go to thebrandistaguide.com and register. Don't miss it. Get out of your comfort zone. The dream is yours. Dream big. I'll talk to you guys next week for more Dryer Buzz on the weekend. All right, so let's get ready to go. News and Talk 1380 WAOK.
News and Talk 1380 WAOK.